What is happening, YouTube? How y'all doing today? It is January 7th, Wednesday. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. My name is Joe, just your average Joe. I've been reselling full-time on eBay for about 8-9 years, but buying and selling stuff on eBay since 2000, 25 years, long time, been around a while. Appreciate you guys hanging with me once again. This will probably be another short video. Sales are starting to come down. We're not, obviously selling through as much stuff as we have been. Obviously, nothing really beats fourth quarter, but we do have a few sales, several sales to go through. We didn't quite hit goal. If you have hung out with me before, my goal is 200 a day or an average of 1,400 for the week. You're going to have some ups and downs, but that's my goal. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to put a bunch of stuff up lately, or not that I haven't been able to, but I've been lazy. So I have not gotten a bunch of stuff up on eBay like I should be. So my plan yesterday was to hammer down some stuff, but I actually processed a bunch of stuff I got through Marketplace, N64. In fact, we'll talk about that. Had some drama happen, but N64, Wii U, Xbox 360, and a bunch of games, Nintendo DS Lite, and a Nintendo SP Advance, and a PSP. So those were the items that I kind of processed through yesterday or last night till late last night. Got everything tested. So the drama that happened, unfortunately, was I knew there was residual. So it goes back to the bug conversation. We had a bug conversation about roaches a few like last week or the week before. I did not pick up any signs of roach activity on a system, and this is the problem when you resell electronics. You have some gross people out there, and they don't care, and they sell their stuff, and they don't pay no attention whether it's got bug droppings or that they had bugs or they had roaches. They live amongst them, and they don't care, which is crazy to me. But anyway, so I had an N64, which I've never really had any issues with N64 because they're not usually hot enough to have roaches infest in them. I rarely have old cartridge systems have roach issues. It's normally the newer systems with the heat sinks and all that, because it's plenty warm for the roaches to live in. But apparently this one, it was in the power in the power plug, the actual power strip that plugs into the N64 is where they were nesting, and I didn't pick up on that because when I looked at the system, it looked fine. The power plug was in the system when I got it from the guy, and it had been sitting in my truck for a little while, for a couple days. It sat in my garage for a couple days, and then I took it upstairs and it sat up in my bonus room for a couple days. Well, last night I go to process this stuff, and normally if I pick up any hints of bug activity, as I mentioned before, my strategy, my go-to is to bag it up, in a trash bag, and I put it in the freezer for a day, and then I take it out, let it sit for another day to let it totally thaw itself out and dry itself out and stuff like that. So before I plug anything in or mess with anything again, that's pretty much a fail-safe way to get rid of the bugs. And I've yet to have a system not fire up after I've done that. So, thinking that, well, you're going to damage the system, not the case. At least for me, I have not had that, and I'd rather take that risk. If the system doesn't work after I do that, I'd rather not have the bugs and the system not work, but obviously protocol for me is typically bring it in if I have any idea or any thought that there may be a bug situation with it. I throw it in a plastic bag, go right in the freezer. Anyway, and I got a freezer outside here in the garage because I don't want to bring any of that stuff in the house. Well, yes, I didn't pick up any scent, any visual off of the N64. Didn't think anything of it, and so can things slip through the cracks? Obviously, yes, like the N64 just did. I can tell you from now on, I will always unhook the power pack from N64 and look in the power area after you take the brick out. And I'm saying all that to say, last night I start processing and I pull the brick out and I see the little coffee grinds, which if you know, you know, little coffee grinds in the little cracks and crevices where you plug in the thing. And I'm like, oh heck. So first thing in my mind was, it's old. They're probably all dried out. Again, that's, I'd say 90% of the time that's the case. They're dried out. They're not alive in there anymore. The system is sitting around so long that there's not actually any live activity. They're all just carcasses, and from when they were in there. So I start, I kind of like say to myself, well, I'm pretty sure it's all dead. It doesn't look like, I look in the cartridge area where you throw the cartridges in, and I looked in there too, because usually if there's droppings and stuff and the system has problem, then that's usually another indication of that there's bug activity. There was nothing there, so I said to myself, it's probably old. Let me go ahead and just keep trucking along. Well, as I'm trucking along, I use isopropyl alcohol and Q-tips to kind of get in some cracks and crevices and pick up a lot of that coffee grind yuck. And obviously I've got gloves on and things like that. And so here comes a little tiny one alive. And I drowned it in isopropyl alcohol, and I Q-tip it. And the 99% isopropyl alcohol pretty much kill him right away. So it was pretty much dead. I had to look that up after the fact because I wasn't sure, but he pretty much stopped moving the minute I got isopropyl alcohol, but apparently it suffocates them almost instantly. So I took the system immediately downstairs with the power brick. I threw it in a bag, threw it in the freezer. It's been in the freezer since about, I don't know, midnight. It's now almost noon, so I'll take it out late tonight, do a good day and a half, and then I'll let it sit for a good day, maybe day and a half before I tackle it again. Yeah, again, it happens, man. It's unfortunate, but so then, I'd already from a scare we talked about this in a previous video. I had a scare with roach, German, and it's German roaches is the problem, and they're bad if they get going and infest, but you want to get ahead of them before they get going, especially if you got them, or have brought one in or two or something. So of course I already have the upstairs, in my garage. I have pest service. So like a year and a half ago, we had a scare where I brought something in, and it was on a PS4, and I think I've talked about that before. But anyway, and I had it upstairs, and same kind of situation. That one is what started my protocol of doing what I'm doing now. Maybe almost 2 years ago now, but anyway, a year and a half, give or take. And so at that time, they came out and they did a whole bunch of bait stations for German roaches. That, like, it's the hormone stuff that stops them. It's the bait stuff. The hormone stuff, I think, stops them from reproducing, and then the hormones, and then the bait stuff kills them. And then there's another thing that takes them back to the colony and kills off, wherever they're nesting. So there was like a three-headed dragon kind of thing, three different types of things to get rid of them. My wife bought borax tablets, which I have like the bait in the borax tablets. I threw those all over the garage. Just the regular bait, the sticky bait traps, got a bunch of those, put them all through the garage. So there's still stuff in the garage from when that happened. And because we were, being proactive, and it was also upstairs, we had a bunch of that stuff put upstairs, and it's still laying underneath things, back behind cracks and crevices, behind the couch, like in places that are discreet that you wouldn't really see or notice. So all that stuff is still upstairs. So, and then we were also proactive and put some stuff in the kitchen, because my kitchen is literally, you walk through the door, kitchen's right there, and then my upstairs go up. Now every time I see something dark, I'm like, is that a roach? So I'm very vigilant now, looking at stuff. But anyway, so there's still stuff laying around, but I called my pest service and I said, hey, can I have the guy, my guy, come out and may have some roach activity? And like, yeah, no problem. So he's gonna come out tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna be like, look, I don't know how good this stuff is. I don't know how long the stuff you put around is good for. But if we could add to it and put some more stuff around the garage, maybe some things in the kitchen and some more stuff upstairs, just to hit it ahead of the game before, it hopefully doesn't become an issue. Because I don't know if I brought 2, 3, 4, 10 in. I don't know. And I don't know if they're all male or female. Like if you just bring in some males, you're usually okay, because they die out. If they don't have water upstairs, there's no access to water. So if they're upstairs after like 7 days, 10 days, they die out for dehydration, because they have to have water supply. So obviously in the garage, I got the fridge. We have the cats, and they've got a water bowl. So could the roaches get access to water in the garage? Yes. Obviously, kitchen. Yes. So if it's isolated upstairs, we should be fine. But again, I'd rather not just cross my fingers. I'd rather try to get more bait stuff in that triple play thing where they take it to their nest, kills them on demand through the sticky pads, and then the hormone thing that they have that stops them from reproducing. So lay all those traps around. So there's that. There's my story. That's my drama for the day. Crazy. It happens. Unfortunately, being a reseller, it's the reality of it. It happens. My wife is deathly afraid of having an infestation and roaches and bugs just in general. We've had pest service at our house since we bought it brand new 17 years ago. We've had the same pest service, Home Team Pest Defense, if anybody knows who they are. The cool thing about them is there's not that this will affect what's going on with the roaches, but that for general bug control, they have like pipes that go through all your walls. When the houses are built, they put these lines through your wall and in between your drywall and stuff. And then there's a station on the outside of the house that they pump the stuff through to get anything in between your walls and things like that, which is pretty cool. But and it will kill roaches, but that's, again, a lot of times they're not in the walls, they're in your electronics, hiding, and so because they like the heat. So anyway, if you have any questions about roaches, German roaches specifically, I mean, I hate to say like I'm your guy, but I'm your guy. I've kind of had this will be now like the third or fourth encounter I've had with German roaches. And look, they can they can come in through boxes you get from Amazon. They can come in through anything that you get delivered to your house. It can happen to anybody. Obviously I'm not making excuses. Obviously what we do puts us in a higher risk of bringing that stuff in. But luckily we haven't had a problem. Luckily the start of problems we've been able to stop before it got bad, because my wife said if our house gets infested, we're moving out. Like she's like not even playing. She's like, I'm not going to mess around with that. We are going to move out. So if it becomes a problem, so like last night I pulled the refrigerator out just to like see if there's anything behind the refrigerator. There was nothing behind the refrigerator because we put stations and stuff on the back of the fridge a year and a half ago, and there was nothing in the back of the fridge. So I'm like, if there's going to be any in the house, they're going to be in the kitchen where there's easy food accessible, or they're going to be in the bathrooms and underneath the sinks. But again, there's nowhere warm in the bathroom, so they're gonna want to be in a warm spot and close to water and food, which is most of the time in a kitchen environment. So they behind the fridge or behind the stove. I didn't pull the stove out, but I did pull the fridge out because it's on wheels, so that was too easy to just pull that out, check behind. While I was back there, I vacuumed. So that's what I'm dealing with. That's what I got for you today. Yeah. So anyway, let's dive into comments. I know that's not what most of y'all were like. Oh, Joe's on. All right, what's going on? Talk about bugs again. Fucking bugs. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with comments. First comment up is Chance Dizzled. Says, great video. I listed a bunch yesterday and 5 items sold already. Man, I want to be like you today. List a bunch of stuff today and have some items sell. Maybe I underpriced them. It's all good. I'm building up my feedback, great deals, shipping times, customer service. So when I scale up, which is soon, trying to post 50 to 120 a day. Dang! Well, you're gonna quit that job in 2 weeks. You put that many items up, you're gonna be off and cruising, man. I guess my question would be, what are you selling that you're getting 50 to 120 items a day? What are you selling? I think people want to know. I want to know. That's a lot of items. Anyways, and then where you're sourcing all those items from consistently, man. So my old customers can possibly become repeat customers, as my store is electric melting pot and an electric melting pot of items that is usually lowest priced on eBay. I'm trying to have more of my customers save me as a seller, but Happy New Year's, and here's to a stellar 2026. Absolutely. Here's to a stellar 2026. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. My percentage of repeat customers is low, but when I do see a repeat customer, I'm like, hey, I will say I've gotten, because I've noticed when I used to sell things that were from all over, like my old eBay account when I did the thrift store, my what I've noticed is when you sell, and this is just from my experience, you know, others people may experience or have a different perspective of it based on what's happened to them. But when I was in lots of different categories and I wasn't like honed in on video games, you know, right now I'm probably 80% video game, 20% other, if I had to guess, maybe 75, 25, something like that. Anyway, heavy on the video games and systems and stuff. Before it was, we weren't heavy anywhere. It was a plethora of stuff, because when you buy storage units, you're getting all sorts of stuff, man. You're in all sorts of categories when you're doing that. And so we didn't get a ton of followers. Now granted, this was 5 years ago when we were in the store doing that, and things have changed a little bit in that more now. More people are doing the follow and you know, this and that, but following, you know, people that they like on eBay, you know, and such. But I have gained a lot more followers niching myself into video games and video game systems. I'm almost at like, I think I just jumped over 500 subscriber or 500 followers, I want to say, or close to 500 followers on my old eBay, my original eBay that I did my thrift store with. Um, I think I'm at like 107, and I've got 5,000 items sold on this eBay, and then my original eBay, I've got again almost over 5,000 items sold there too. It's just, again, for my seat, the more you spread yourself out to all different categories, and it's not a bad thing. It's just because people, if people bought from you before and they are into video games, then they'll follow you. I guess that's the same thing with clothes. If you sell clothes and, you know, you have most of your stores closed, then people that are looking for clothes later, they're going to follow you and look at your store first, possibly. You know, and that can be true for watches and whatever, all sorts of categories. So jewelry and whatever. So that makes sense. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, definitely. Let's have an awesome 2026. Winston Wolf, welcome back, Winston Wolf. I was wondering when you were going to comment again. I saw you pop up, and I was like, oh man, Winston Wolf, there he is. Great to see you, Joe. Great to see you back. Appreciate you hanging out. I love your channel, Joe. Your and your style, way you interact with your fans and viewers. Oh, that's my dad. So I so miss watching. Glad to see you back, sir. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. I don't plan on going anywhere this time. So, video might have cut off a little early, but good video. Yeah, it did cut off early. I had the storage issue. Having the storage, not enough storage issue was the problem. All right, and then let's see. Phantom says, hey, Joe, good to see physical media without internet connection to play. It's selling all great titles, Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider series, always bangers, never can go wrong. If you have any Resident Evils or Final Fantasies, big cash cows, I have several of each. Winston Wolf is back. Blessing to a new year. Thank you for the reminder tip. Absolutely. What's up, Pop? Hey, I'm on YouTube for a moment. Give me a few minutes, and I don't have a lot going on. I'll be off in a few. TJ Keller says, where do you get your supplies, tape boxes, mailers, and such? I've been using the Postmark supplies since they made them available, so I only had to buy tape. So I actually just had to restock some stuff. So I take advantage of the quarterly eBay $25, which is nothing really. It's just 100 bubble mailers for video games. Tape, I honestly get everything from eBay. Believe it or not. My tape I get in bulk. I just bought a bulk thing of 48 rolls on eBay. I bubble mailers. I typically eBay, my paper, my packing paper, eBay. The only thing, all my bigger bubble mailers, like my full size bubble mailers, eBay, and boxes, eBay. The only thing I don't buy on eBay is bubble wrap. I don't use a ton of the bubble wrap. I use paper more often, but I do use it occasionally. But bubble wrap I get from American Bubble Boy, American Picker, Commonwealth Picker turned me on to that, and it was definitely cheaper than what I was getting on eBay, and better quality. So that I've been getting from American Bubble Boy. So, and then obviously boxes and other packing materials, friends and family that have stuff that they're looking to get rid of. So I try to not spend money if I don't have to, but obviously there's things that you gotta get that you're not gonna get through that avenue. So yeah, that's how I get my stuff: bubble mailers, paper, bubble wrap, boxes, tape. I think that's about it. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But yeah, that's how I do it. All right, so let's move on to sales. We had 5 sales for a total 170.84. Nothing major. I already pulled the order, so we'll get through this pretty quick. So I got this, I think, last spring. We had this Roomba, and then I came across another Roomba that was better than this one. And so only reason I even have a Roomba is because I came across one in at a yard sale for like $5. So I was like, I'll try it. You know, I heard they were pretty good, and it impressed me. So I was like, okay. Then I don't know, a year later, I came across another yard sale, and it had the better, upgraded, newer Roomba. So it was like $5 too, and I was like, and it looked clean. It didn't look janky and nasty and all gross. So I was like, well, I'll get that one and sell mine, and that's exactly what I did. So mine has, I had bought an extra filter and attachments and wheels. I never got to use them because I kept it pretty clean. But anyway, it's got the little dock for it, the charger, the Roomba, the whole nine. So that sold for $65 plus shipping. I'm sorry, $65 free shipping. Free shipping on that. Monster Hunter disc only PS2 sold for $18 free ship. A lot of free ship stuff. Plants vs. Zombies Xbox One sold for $18 free shipping, but it is sealed, brand new, sealed. So $18 free ship on that. Driver 2, $18 free ship on that too. PS1, greatest hits. And then the final game was Pokemon or Pokken Tournament Wii U. The sold for $35 plus shipping on this one. And the reason why that is because it has the card with it. If you have ever see this, the game itself, if you don't have the cards, like maybe $15. But if you have the card, it increases the price pretty, you know, $20 or so. So that's it. Not a ton happening. Pretty light sales day again. I'm not going to say what's up with eBay because we already know what the deal is. Although I could do clickbait, right? And do, well, I guess the clickbait could be how to avoid roaches from getting in your house reselling or something like that. I don't know. That might grab some people. So, oh boy. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Best way you can support the channel is if you enjoyed anything or got anything out of it, chuckled, laughed, thought this guy's a goober, whatever it is, you know, if you had any enjoyment out of this, make sure you subscribe, like the video, watch the video, and comment. I like to go over your comments and questions. I like questions. Bring me questions so I can drop nuggets, and people that are watching that don't comment can be like, I didn't know that, because I'm sure we have some of those that are watching and lurking and don't comment, but they're watching because I do drop, I think, a good nugget occasionally, like Barasso, right, for your cartridge games. I'm telling you, if you sell video games, especially the old video games, Barasso on the pins, game changer, man. Game changer. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.